Party's already started. My name is Kind Turinas. I'm a part of the Historic West Bend Theater, Inc., and I'll kind of be driving people through their little remarks as we go along. So I'm as tall as I'm ever going to be. So can you see me? Yes. Or can you just see my bling? Here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is just a phenomenal event with a fabulous project that's been going on for 2.5 years. And today, we're going to do a little reminiscing, go back into history, and flash forward too. And thank all of this community with the outpouring of support, donations, big and small. We could not have done this project without you. And the teamwork we've had with all the partners in the construction and reconstruction of this building. So what I'd like to do is flash back to the beginning when leaders in this community imagined a place of entertainment that would just knock the socks off of everybody in this region. And they did. They put together bricks and mortar and state-of-the-art everything to make this place of entertainment an attraction for everybody around. And as it moved through vaudeville and silence and movies, this became the center of life in this community. And I could say that it's probably the heart and soul of all these little small towns throughout the country that had the vaudeville shows go through, and people gathered, came together, had a good time, and went home, kind of forgetting some of the troubles they may have. So as we passed through the history and saw the movies become the most popular kind of entertainment, there we go. It became a part of our community, and we can look forward to having it a part again. But as we look back on the architects and designers who did this building, take a look at the structure itself. Now, this is a building. It's bricks and mortar, but it doesn't really tell the story that goes on inside the building with the people who made this a part of their lives. Look up at the building and see the brickwork and the design of these bricks. Not something you see much today. And if you look at the top 10 feet, I think it is, you'll see what looks like a basket weave. And we had an artisan brick, a master brick, what would you call him? Mason. Do all of the repointing, tuck pointing, and now we have something that we can be extremely proud of because it's a beautiful building. But what we didn't realize, the interior also has its calling card. As we went through analyzing the paint history with the first firm, which was Evergreen Architecture, they uncovered beautiful stencils under those urns that everybody knows about. In addition to that, stencils and banners on every beam, on every pilaster, and on the ceiling too, covered completely with maroon paint. We uncovered one to find out what was there, and now they're all traced, and they will be replaced after the plaster by Conrad Schmidt Studios and Chuck Dwyer, a local artist of West Bend. So that's something that we will look forward to for the experience of being in a building that's unique to this community. And in addition to the building itself were all of the employees who added their own flavor to this experience. And I would say in this crowd, I don't think I will guess, but will you please raise your hands if you were an employee of the West Bend Theater during the heydays? Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that. Well, from what I understand, the managers of the theater were pretty terrific and created a sense of family, kind of guided some of these unruly boys who needed a little shaping up. I've heard stories, but I'm not going to repeat them now. Those are they left said. So shout out somebody. Where are you? Raise your hand. Where's Don Anderson? What did you do? Everything? General manager, yes. You. Here's a little blonde person shorter than I am, and she said she was in concessions. 17. Oh,
for 17 years.
And you? 49. Oh my God, I love it. Where else do we have?
Give him his job back.
Where?
The new marquee. He can put the letters up on the new marquee.
I can see you're spry and you can do it. Anybody else want to say their name, shout it out? Maybe you can shout sometimes.
I know there were 4 Schomer brothers. There are 3 of them here tonight, Rich, Mark, and Fred. Brian works second shift, so he's not here. So raise your hand. Where are they? There they are right here. These guys right here. Yeah. Anybody else out there? I know that Carol Recker's here, and her husband Harry worked here. He's deceased, but she's here tonight. Let's see. Roger Strack is here. He used to do the letters on the marquee.
Veteran.
And a veteran. Okay, I doubled up on that one. So, yeah, and Martha Hughes Wilson is here. She used to do ticket sales. Where's Martha? Right here. And Martha told me that there's a young boy had a crush on her when she was in the ticket booth, and he was sort of ogling her, and he slammed into the stoplight. He worked at Dick's Pizza, and he was driving by delivering and took a side look and crashed the car.
Well, those are some of the people who have been a part of this, but we'd like to bring up Lester Hahn to give all of you some of the stories that have gone on during the period that he was here. And he's got about 5 minutes, so I'm going to kick him if he goes beyond that. Put the timer on. Here, Lester. Do I feel, is that rain?
No.
Hey, Marty. You look awesome still. Oh, yeah. No. So I started here in the early 70s. I was 16 years old. I got my driver's license, and Andy Flynn said, hey, you should work at the theater. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's go do that. So I got a job. My very, very first job, I was interviewed by Mr. Meade and Mrs. Meade. That's what you called them back then. So Rolly and Mary Meade. And I remember after my first 2 weeks of getting paid $1.28 an hour, which is what we got, big money. My car used up more gas than I could afford to keep feeding it, so I had to get money from my parents. And it was just amazing back then. And then Marty's bringing back a whole bunch of memories. So she worked there also. So anyway, my job as an usher, I remember when I looked in the front here, down on the right side, I'd stand down there, and what am I supposed to do? Well, if anybody's talking, tell them to be quiet, and if they don't listen, throw them out. All right, so I would stand there, and they'd look, and they'd be bad. I'd tell them to be quiet, and then I'd just, hey, you got to leave, you know, and that was kind of neat. And the other part that's kind of fun is these little kids, they're like this size or even smaller, they'd come down that ramp, and they'd start running, and their wheels would go so fast they could barely hang on to it. I would laugh before I'd say something because I was one of those kids when I was that small, and I would run, and it was so great going, you had so much speed. It was just great back then. So then from there, I'll only do the one story. At that time, when you go inside, all the food and stuff was sold in the middle. So, and Marty, she was one of the vendettes.
No, I was the ticket seller.
Ticket seller. Well, you would help, and Punky. All right, see, it's coming back. It gets a little fuzzy. And then I think we sold the tickets behind the counter. They were over on the side. Back, they'd come out of the counter. Then they came over here. There was a place for them to come out. And then that was the last place that I remember where the tickets were sold. So that changed a little bit. So from being a usher, Mr. Meade had fired me 2 times. I came up and I was late. I was late by maybe 8 minutes, 10, I don't know. And I remember him standing there and he just pointed his finger. You're gone. You're gone. And I said, Dad, I told you I had to be here. Oh, he's not going to fire you for that. Yeah, he did. So my parents talked to him. They hired me back. Another time my dad had me, it was all my dad's fault every time. He just, right like this. And I said, oh, Mrs. Mead, no. And she was crying because she loved us. I mean, she really did. She was awesome. So, and Rolly Mead was awesome. And after that, we just became the best of friends for the next, till he died. So. Yeah, he was a good guy. So Mr. Mead actually died in the theater. So he was coming down the stairs and had a heart attack. And yeah, he is a great guy. And we'll miss him. However, he may still be here. And I'm going to speak. I'm one of these practical people. Until you prove it to me, I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to tell 2 stories on it. And then my time will be gone and I'll be in trouble. So. The first one is, I'm sitting upstairs in the balcony, and there's a distinct noise when that door opens to the projection booth, because I was a projectionist for many years. Then I fixed the projectors, I would fix the sound, whatever they need fixed, it's what I am good at. Okay, so, and I hear the door open, and it closed. I said, well, somebody just came out of there. Now, this was after Mr. Mead passed, and so I turned around to look. I didn't see anybody, and so I got up, I walked up there was no one there. You have to physically open that door and step on a piece of metal to make that combination noise. I'm telling you it was there, and there was no person there. And that's just the fact, that's just the way it is, okay? So the other one was, there was a manager that was there who turned it over to Don. The way Don got promoted, and he's right over there, is Greg Polly was the manager, and he just called him up and said, I'm not coming in today. He was, what? He said, he came down, threw him the keys. That's it. You're the manager. He goes, I have no idea what to do. But that's how he got his manager job. Okay, so Greg Polly and I, when he was working there, they moved the office from upstairs, which was upstairs, and Mr. Mead had these keys. Whenever he came to the door, you could hear those keys come out, and he would open the door with those set of keys. So Greg and I are sitting in the office, and he's to my left, and I'm right here. The door would be there. And we hear the keys come out like somebody's got keys, he said. And I thought, wow, that sounds a lot like, but no, I just thought it was somebody else's keys, just a coincidence. And instead of waiting until the keys open the door, Greg grabs the door and opens it, and nobody is there because they were fiddling with the lock to open it, and it didn't open. So you can ask, both of us were there at the same time. Greg's not here. Find him somewhere, and you can get the rest of the story. So with that being said, my time has been burnt up, and I'm getting kicked from behind. So what we'll do is later on, they're asking me that if people want to come inside and they want to hear about some of the secret traps and doors and things that are in there, I'll point a few things out a little later. And then they're going to have stuff for sale out here. But you guys, thank you for your support. You guys are awesome. Without all of you, this theater, this town would not be here. So just thank you for that very much.
Appreciate it.
He said it all. This was quite a family. Worked here for many, many years. And thank goodness this is one theater that did not meet a wrecking ball. So Nick Novacek, who's president of the board of directors of the Historic West Bend Theater, Inc., will talk a little bit about what we have in store, what's been going on now in the construction, and let you carry on, Nick, and then we will have Dan Promley.
Thank you for coming. If I could take 30 seconds, can I invite Mayor Sadonico up? I'm going to take advantage of him being here. You're going to come up and say a word or two for us.
Thank you, Nick. Awesome stuff. I'm glad to see this is a casual event, so I don't feel too out of place. This is my kind of celebration. Every once in a while in a community and every once in a while in life, if you're lucky or if we're lucky, you get to feel like maybe you're living a little bit of history. And in West Bend, and specifically in downtown West Bend, I've felt like that a couple of times over the last handful of years. 2-3 years ago with the opening of Old Settlers Park, which I think a large part of this crowd hopefully is heading down to watch music on Main. I felt like that was pretty historic, pretty major change for downtown. Just a couple of months ago, I had the same feeling across the river with the opening of the museum's gardens, the East Side Riverfront. Felt like it was a pretty historic day for West Bend. And then standing here today, Nick, thanks to your team, your volunteers, your donors, this community, it really feels like we're living a little bit of history. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say, just as we're standing here today hearing stories about the folks that founded the theater decades and generations ago, I don't think it's a stretch to say generations from now, people will be standing here talking about today, the day that the lights went back on. So congratulations, thanks to the entire community, and thanks to your team.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely. And I think between what Kine has echoed, Lester has solidified, and what the mayor had just spoken, that captures, what we're doing here. A couple months ago, I talked to a group of donors and said that Main Street matters. Why are we doing this? Why are we all trying to resurrect a 1929 building, painstakingly going through re-tuck pointing and re-straightening, going through the process of demolition, all while making historic standards with the National Park Service to maintain our historic registration that this building will become and continue to be for future generations. And I think all of the things that you hear tonight are those reasons. I think this is a place where people are going to reconnect and regenerate and unwind, maybe get away from some iPhones and iPads and computer screens and troubles and problems, and they're going to have experiences. We're going to provide live music and live entertainment, live theater. We're going to dive into classic films where we'll be coming in. If I have my way, we'll be watching The Godfather every Friday night. And thanks to Mr. Turinas, we're going to have a nice bar inside, too. So you can watch The Godfather with a martini. It's just going to be a place for this community to gather. It's a community asset, more than anything, is that we want West Bend to own this theater. And we're doing that kind of tongue-in-cheek by selling shares of stock and helping raise funds tonight. We're also selling light bulbs because, frankly, we can't afford to turn it on if we don't. So we're reaching out to the general public to help us do those things. But that sense of ownership, I think, from day one, wouldn't you say, at the board of director level, is we said that the community needs to own this theater. And whether that's through support of buying tickets or support of buying light bulbs and seats and shares of stock or a T-shirt or a coffee mug, or just telling your friends or sharing our story on Facebook, or, in a few years come back like Lester and say, these are my experiences that I had here, whether it was the first kiss, the first date, the first anything. Those are the types of things that we want the city of West Bend to be able to have, that previous generations in West Bend has have. So with that, I'll end my remarks. We are going to start setting up the electrical connections with Steiner Electric to get the light bulbs on. In the meantime, I'm going to introduce Dan Pronley, and he's going to talk about all the different fun ways that we can support this endeavor for the community. But again, thank you for being here. Looking forward to decades of live theater and live music in West Bend. So thanks again.
All right. So they're going to work in the background here, getting the lights ready. While we're doing that, I think you all saw the flyer, and I think you heard about it a moment ago. We have the opportunity, if you would like to buy stock in the theater, we have that opportunity. If you'd like to help buy a light bulb, we have that opportunity. And lastly, and probably one of the best ones, if you'd like to help reseat, meaning all the other seats, as you remember, there's pictures all over Facebook, they're in a heap. They can't be used anymore. If you'd like to help sponsor a seat, now your name will not be on the back of the seat, but it'll be on a patron or a sponsor board. You can do that. So here's what it is. We have volunteers that have pieces of paper. If you'd like to sponsor any one of those, and I'll tell you what they are, and all you have to do is raise your hand, a sponsor will come over. We'll fill out that information, or you can check out over here at the table to help us tonight. So here's what it is. A light bulb, and I'm not kidding when I say this, a light bulb is $100. A stock certificate is $200. And then that chair that I talked about, the seat, is $300. Now, is there anybody willing tonight, again, all I have to do is raise your hand, that would like to do all three at a glorious price? If you add them up, that's $500. Does anybody want to help us tonight? Raise their hand. $500. Anybody? You don't have to, but if you'd like to, that would be great. Do we have some already? Okay, good. So then I will go to the next one, the $300 with a seat, with that placard again on that wall. Is there anybody willing? And I think we had 2 at seats already, right? So we had 2 earlier today. Anybody else would like to help us with a seat, placard, your name on it, $300. I've got one right here. I've got one right here. I've got one right here. I've got 3 of them. Volunteers, get them. Raise your hand again. The volunteer wants to find you. Right, there we go. Anybody else with a seat? Oh, I got another one over there. $300 of a seat. Thank you. I got one all the way in the back. Good. We need somebody with steps to run over there. I can do it. Raise your hand again. Volunteer, can you see him? He's over by the other building and the no parking sign. Anybody else at 300? I think that was 5. That was awesome. Anybody else? Seats? Another one right here?
1 seat.
1 seat. You're awesome, sir. All right, volunteer. I lost all my volunteers. Can you come back up front here? Come on, come on. He's over here. Oh, there he is. All right. Last call for seats. And again, if you want to do it later, all you have to do is go to the table, fill it out. They'll bill you for it. Or you can pay tonight, too. All right, 2 left. And then we're going to get ready for the turn on of the sign. The next one is stock certificate. And it is actual. It's printed. Not this. It's printed, though. It's, it's not that. They're very beautiful. I have a sample. But I have to find it. All right, here it is. The sample. No, that's that. This is it. Sample. Here's a sample. It says certificate on it. We had to pay extra money for that. But it does say the Historic West Bend Theater, you would own a certificate in it, just like the Packers. Only better, right? All right, anybody interested in a certificate? $200. Right here, I've got one right here. I got one over here. Volunteer, where'd my volunteers go? Okay, oh, yeah, they've got one over here, right? Anybody else? Stock certificate. $200, 1, 2, 3. We got some more. Did you get him? Anybody else at $200 stock certificate? You can frame it. You can give it to your kids, your grandkids. Take a picture of this moment. Put it on Facebook. Here, I bought a certificate. Anybody else? Certificate?
This stock is an incredible thing. You think about the Green Bay Packers. 1929, they went 12-0. This building was built in 1929. You get a chance to buy this. It's just like the Packers stock. You can't sell it. You won't get dividends, but it'll look beautiful on your wall, framed. And everybody who sees that is going to say, where did you get that? So raise your hands and buy some stock.
Thank you. Anybody else on a stock? He tried hard. All right, I got one all the way back there. Thank you, sir. You did a good job. Do you see him? Oh, he's got him. All right, anybody else? Stock. All right. Are you pointing, sir, at the sign, or are you wanting stock? He's pointing at the sign. All right. Last one. Are you guys almost ready with the electrical? You are ready? All right. Last one is help us out with light bulbs. Who can do $100? Light bulbs. Oh, I got a bunch over here. 1, 2, 3 over there. Volunteers. 4, another one in the middle. Keep your hand up until they get there. Volunteers. 5, another one right here. 6. All right, this side's done. 7, I got, oh, that's a volunteer, right? Oh, no, do you want one? She wants a light bulb all the way in the back by the restaurant over here. 7. Anybody else want a light bulb? There's a lot of light bulbs there. We could use just a few more. Anybody else? Oh, I got another one right here. Thank you, ma'am. All my volunteers are on this side right now. Oh, there's another one over there.
Back there, too. Packer fan.
Packer fan? Well, yeah, there's a lot of them here tonight. That game starts in half an hour, right?
Don't tell them that.
Okay, I won't tell them that. All right, volunteers. There's $100 over here. A bunch over. Where'd my volunteers go? Over there, ma'am. Got him? All right, thank you for being patient. All right, last call at $100 for the light bulbs. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We don't have enough to light it, but we're really close. Anybody else at $100? Light bulb? Oh, I got another one over there. Thank you, sir. All right, did you get him? Over there? Raise your hand again, sir. She's coming. Very good. Right over by the white van. All right, I'm going to turn it back over. Thank you.
And we couldn't be more proud of the community for helping us get it back together. So without further ado, you want to do a countdown? Why don't we start? 10,
5,
9,
9, 8, 7,
6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Good job.